And your adopted dad, William Kyle Riley, worked as a pilot and was involved
Yes.
integrally in
He
the
was involved in
Epstein-Trump
all
plan.
kinds of things.
Yeah, and he worked a lot with Trump and Epstein, correct?
I know that he was around Epstein and worked with Epstein, and I want to say that he flew for Epstein, and if not for Epstein directly, like transporting Epstein himself, he
love you too, Joyce.
Did transport some of the rich people to and from these parties that Epstein and company hosted. It wasn't just him; it was kind of a cabal of several people, and Epstein was the lead coordinator, maybe you would call it. But it's much more than just him as an individual. You know, it was people like him, like Trump, other people, and I can't remember, like how many, but he was handy to have around because he was a part of the process, and he isn't just like an airline pilot or something like that. He can fly anything. He can fly helicopters, fixed wing, smaller aircraft, larger aircraft. I mean, he's that pilot that kind of that.
What's up, Allie?
Multi-purpose guy that could transport whatever you needed.
Okay, so
and I don't know if he ever got into the drugs. I can remember him talking at one point, and he had refused to do a drug run, basically, and somebody else took that drug run, and they got busted.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of aircraft it was or whatever, and it was around Florida that guy got busted at. Maybe he flew down to the Virgin Islands or something like that. I can't remember the specific details, but I can remember the conversation that my dad had talking about, thank God I didn't take that.
So what we're talking about today is the things that I've been realizing and figuring out in the last couple of days, and how this SASCHA Riley audio has a lot to do with Turning Point USA, all these cults, and most importantly, why these things are actually happening, and why every single thing having to do with Turning Point USA has something to do with can't say that, tadpole traffic lights. So as I was listening to this SASCHA Riley audio, I learned that his adopted dad was a pilot. And I'm starting to realize the pilots and the planes are all coming together in this situation. So I'm going to go a little deeper in this, but I'm going to let the audio go, and make sure to hit the like button, share this video, and because this is going to be crazy.
And because the guy got busted and he wound up, huge amount of charges, 25 to life or whatever the heck he got. But I can remember from his perspective being nervous because the people that he was working with, he was scared that they were going to set him up to take the fall for something, to just get rid of him, because he had been involved in so much other criminality that he was really nervous about taking on anything else. That's what he did. He shuttled the people, but I can remember him not wanting to cross the bridge over to running drugs.
Yeah.
Because in his mind, if he got caught with some people, he could just play dumb. And I was just transporting this guy's kid to, from the, here to there. I didn't know.
So what he's saying right here is his dad, adopted dad, because, he adopted some kids. Well, his dad, his mother, his adopted mother and father adopted him and some other kids specifically in order to rent them out to people on these islands and or these farms that he would fly people out to. So the significance of the plane and the significance of what he was saying, a lot of times a pilot would be hired to do a drug run, to transport narcotics to different places. His dad was hired to do people runs in order to take people, whether it's the victims or whether it's the customers, to islands or to these, places that have a whole lot of land. So there are certain places that people own the entire island, entire, whatever. So you can't just drive to the place because there's no way to get there. So you have to get there via plane. And of course, Candace Owens have been talking about planes over and over again. And now I'm starting to put it all together. So put a 1 in the chat if y'all remember when Candace Owens was saying that according to her knowledge and what she did her research on, virtually every time Charlie Kirk had one of these events where he was, going back and forth with the students, in every city he went to, there was a military plane not too far from the event. Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all remember that. No, it wasn't a spy plane. And this is just my mind, so I may be wrong. In my opinion, these planes, and I could be wrong, okay? This is just me just theorizing. They weren't spy planes. See, we thought the planes were spying on Charlie Kirk. Spying, no. There's a possibility that every time Charlie Kirk did an event and brought out 2,000-3,000 students, it put whomever in a position where a student or 2 or 3 can go missing. And the plane was literally to transport the students to an island. So just listening to this put it all together for me. So we're going to talk about a couple other things connected to this. I'm going to keep it playing, but I want y'all to remember the movie Blink Twice. We're going to talk about the movie Blink Twice. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember the movie Blink Twice.
Anything. So
did your dad?
Go ahead.
Did your dad transport the victims most often?
Oh, absolutely.
So more victims than guests. I don't want to call them guests.
I would say more guests than victims, okay. But he definitely transported both.
Okay. And that was either directly for Epstein, wasn't transporting Epstein so much as Epstein's victims and Epstein's guests.
And the clients.
Okay, yes. The clients.
So that is the first audio. I have a couple of them, but all of this is coming together. And it's all because of SASCHA Riley coming forward. And this is the reason why it's important for victims to come forward, because a lot of other people who are victims, they are putting their stories out, or somebody would get convicted or something, but a piece would be missing. And because that piece is missing, the person never gets convicted. They would just get charged with something because victims aren't coming out. This is why it's so important for victims to come out and say something, because now it puts everything together. And that's the key to all of this, putting all the pieces together. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to hit the like button. So I did this video the other day.
It isn't even TP.
So I'm going to skip a little bit, but I want to play a little bit of, actually, no, let's see. I want to show y'all something. All right, so check this out.
This is what they follow: spells, rituals. This is what they follow: spells, rituals. And they do believe in the self. They believe that they can make themselves gods by violating nature. Right. So part of their ritual is to harm the innocent,
right there. So I focus on the why and not the who and what, right? Who cares about who unalived Charlie Kirk? I'm starting to easily think that Gregory is still alive. Okay. And the reason why I think Gregory, I'm calling him Gregory because YouTube will try to take my video down if I turn around and say this person is still alive and he didn't. Okay. So I'm using the word Gregory on purpose for YouTube. All right. So Gregory, I think he's still alive. And the reason why he faked his death, and it's just easily starting to, show to me, is that all of this is starting to happen. All of this is starting to come out. The Epstein files, all of this is starting to come out. And in my opinion, and I said this before, Charlie Kirk was going to get the same treatment when it came to a lot of lawsuits that Diddy dealt with. The reason why Diddy is in prison was because of lawsuits, Cassie's lawsuit and Lil Rod's lawsuit. And all of this stuff happened under Charlie Kirk's watch because he was CEO of Turning Point USA. So whether he knew about some stuff or he didn't, it happened on his watch. Because one thing we have to stop doing is asking, well, did Charlie Kirk know about all this? Well, where was Charlie Kirk? It doesn't really matter because he was the CEO of Turning Point USA. And if Turning Point USA members and the staff and the executives was allegedly doing all these things, and they're connected to 30 different scenarios, and they all have something to do with Tadpole traffic lights, it doesn't matter if he knows about it. You're the CEO and all of your employees are doing all this weird shit. I'm sick of trying to figure out whether he knew or not. It doesn't matter. So that's the first thing. So because it doesn't matter, whether he knew it or not, doesn't matter. He was the CEO of Turning Point USA. There was about to be a lawsuit, a huge lawsuit, monumental lawsuit coming down to literally ruin everything that Charlie Kirk built, whether he knew about it or not. And because Gregory is no longer here, well, I can say because Charlie Kirk is no longer here, that lawsuit never happened because there's so much evidence. Because for those who are watching, y'all know I've been on the Tadpole traffic light stuff from day one. I ain't really care about Charlie Kirk stuff. I ain't care about the ballistics. I talked a little bit about it. I talked about the air actuated pellet discharger and all this other stuff. But the main thing I always stayed on was this one particular thing, which is the kids. So this SASCHA Riley situation has literally opened my mind up and showed me exactly why Gregory faked his death and he's still alive. All right. And I'm getting angry just thinking about it because now I'm sitting here like, yo, Charlie Kirk knew about all this stuff. So back this up a little bit. Let's go. So let me back up a little bit. Let's talk about Fort Huachuca real quick. Because all questions were answered in this video if you didn't watch it.
In the psychological operations unit. I hate that.
Dr. Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino and his wife Lilith are the heads of the world's leading satanic cult, the Temple of Set.
Fort Huachuca is one of the most important military bases in the United States. I know you can't see it clearly on this map, but this is Fort Huachuca, and it sits on the southeastern tip of Arizona, and it borders Mexico.
Right there. That's the second part of this. The first thing is the ritualistic activities going on, revolving around all of this. The second thing is Fort Huachuca. What is the significance of Fort Huachuca? It's not just because it's a military base, because everybody in this situation is in the military. It's about the fact of where it sits. It's one in Arizona, and two, it sits on the border of Mexico. And we all know the border mixed with the military puts whoever is running things at Fort Huachuca in a position where they can do whatever they want to do to whoever they want to do it to and easily get away with it because it's right at the border. Back in the day, it was a lot of movies about somebody would commit a heinous crime and the police is chasing them, and then they'll cross the border and then instantly they don't have anything to worry about. So the border, for two different reasons, to be able to get away with things, and two, migrants.
Today, Fort Huachuca is basically the brain center for military intelligence, cybersecurity, electronic warfare, and surveillance training. This is where Army intelligence officers are trained. If it involves signals, data, drones, or information warfare, it most likely passes through Fort Huachuca.
And everything you hear about Turning Point USA is about data farming, geofencing, but we're not done.
1969, Sky Aquino joined the Church of Satan.
Just make sure you're on track. Michael Aquino. Everything that happens with Turning Point USA, it always ends up with children, and now we're starting to add rituals to all of that.
The slave to conventions or to propaganda of any sort, for that matter, so that you are in effect a god yourself, responsible for your own decisions concerning matters of good or evil or morality.
And what he's referring to, what they follow, is the Egyptian Book of the Dead. They've kept this, okay? This is what they follow. Spells, rituals. This is what they follow. Spells, rituals.
So the spells and rituals, some of y'all may say, whatever, but we don't have to believe in it for them to be wanting to do it. Because some of this stuff that happened with SASCHA, well, I would say a lot of the stuff that happened with SASCHA Riley, Trump had a lot. Well, Trump is in the story. I'll just say that. So you may say, is that believable? Would this man or that man, whether it's Trump or anybody else in the story with SASCHA Riley, why would somebody want to do that to puppies? If you know, you know. Why would somebody do this to this boy? Why would somebody do this to this girl? And I'm not just saying normal stuff. I mean, crazy stuff. Well, what Candace is about to say is the rituals are meant to make you into a god. See, when you make all the money that you need, you don't need to make $1 billion, but say you make $80 million. You have $80 million. You can buy a boat. You can buy a plane. You can buy whatever the hell you want to buy. There's nothing on the planet that you can't buy. And you start going to events where other rich people go to. And you start to realize that because you are a part of this organization or this group, or because you're rich, you're now able to fly to other islands, not countries, islands where there are no rules, no police, and no cameras. And you could do whatever the hell you want to do, no matter how illegal and crazy it is. If you believe it or you want to do it, they'll facilitate it for you. And that's kind of like what happened when you can have any woman you want, any this you want, any that you want, and you got all the money in the world. You can do what you want to do. Next thing you know, you start imagining stuff and you're like, I want to do this. And you can do it. Like right now in the chat, if you had all, if like, think about this. Imagine rubbing a magic lamp, and the magic lamp would literally give you anything you want in life. And you already got almost $1 billion anyway, so money isn't a thing. You really don't even know what you would want, and you start thinking about stupid shit. And they give it to you. So they go to these islands and pay these secret pilots to, take whomever to the island. But in order to get the wish, in order to go to the island and get or do whatever it is that you want to be able to do, you have to do these rituals. Because when you got all the money, all the options in the world, the next option is, in your mind or in their minds, is to find a way to live longer than you are living. You know how when you get older, you're like, all right, I probably got about 2 more decades. Well, all these rituals that they do makes them believe that there's an afterlife. And then they start doing these rituals. And we already know about adrenochrome that comes from the movie Monsters, Inc. And they start making you believe that, hey, scared kids in the movie Monsters, Inc. can get and put you in a position where you can stop aging. So that's literally the thing that you would actually want. None of y'all said anything about that. None of y'all said, I rub a magic lamp and I will stop aging. Some of y'all said, someone said, hug Jesus. Why? You would want to continue to live and not have to worry about dying. That's the main thing you would want if you had all the money in the world, all the women in the world, all the this in the world. You would want to continue to live. So when you think about why would these people do these heinous things, well, it's partly in order to be able to keep living past whatever age you are. And whether it's true or not, this is the reason why they have this need or want to harm tadpoles. So let's keep going. See, I'm trying to give y'all the understanding because all of this is about understanding. I'm trying to give y'all the understanding of why these people are doing the things that they're doing. Because that's the key. Why are they doing these things? Once you realize why, you now can find out what to do next. Because too much of us are like, this isn't true. You have all this disbelief because you wouldn't do these things. But once you realize that they are not you and you are not them, you then can actually open your eyes and say, oh shit, this is real. So the first thing we have to do is get you to believe that there are men and women who do these things with the thought process of, I want to do them. I'm not made to do this. I want to do it. And the reason why I want to do it is because I want an afterlife or an elongated life. Watch this.
And they do believe in the self. They believe that they can make themselves gods by violating nature. So part of their ritual is to harm the innocent,
You have to, according to them, harm the innocent. None of us want to harm the innocent. So they have to, in order to get or ascend, they have to do these things. So you have to get outside of your own mind and say, why would somebody do this? Why would they not? They got all the money in the world and they're bored as hell and they got this old ass wife. And in order to be able to hang out with these other weirdos, you got to do weirdo shit too.
To harm the innocent because that's unnatural. It's unnatural to harm and
it's unnatural to harm tadpoles. I had to beep it out. The key is, according to everything that I'm learning and what Candace is learning, is that in order to become a god in this type of religion or whatever these people are in, you first have to do things that are not natural to humans, because you got to remember, there's a human and then there's a god. So if you want to ascend from being a human to a god, according to them, you have to start doing things that the average human would never want to do. You know how in a lot of these situations, especially involving tadpoles, you'll say, why in the world would somebody want to do something like this? Do these people have a heart? Do these people have a soul? Well, that's the actual point. The worse they do to other people or to tadpoles, the more they actually believe that they will or have arisen to become this God figure. So the worse or grotesque things they do, the better, the higher, or the faster they ascend.
So in 1986, regarding this guy, the San Francisco police began investigating allegations, not surprisingly, of sexual abuse in connection with the Army's Child Development Center.
See, literally every single day, the Army, the military, has something to do with tadpoles. And you wonder why. Partly is because the Army itself, or I would say parts of the Army, is cult-like in itself. And I don't want to offend anybody that has been to the Army, who is in the Army, who has people that are kin to you in the Army. I don't want to be offensive. But I was around a lot of military people. I used to work for the Department of Defense. I wasn't in the Army, but I used to work for the Department of Defense years ago. And I heard stories, and it wasn't stories of somebody else. I had conversations with men and women who have seen cult-like behavior within the Army ranks and what they would do when they go to other countries. They would, and I'm not saying every Army, Navy, Marine, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying certain parts of the military. I'm not even just going to like single out the Army. I'm just going to say military. Yeah, it's some having to do with MK Ultra, where you know how they be like, come here, you little maggot, you got to do this and da-da-da-da, and, you know, have you like, they try to do something to you psychologically. You little piece of crap. They tear you down in order to build you up. Some of this is cult-like. And some of the things that they make, like I said, I don't want no problems with the military. They make people do in order to make sure that they're over here instead of over here. It's the same thing as the pastors are doing in the churches. Because we all know from all the videos we've been watching of mine and other people's, there's two parts of this. It's the military and then it's the cults. So for those of you who are in the military, sorry, I don't want to offend you, but the military is cult-like, just like religion is cult-like. And for all of them, from a cult standpoint, kids are the answer to winning in a cult. Let's keep going. And I'm going to tell y'all, I almost started crying when I did this video, because when I was editing the SASCHA Riley video, and it's multiple videos, and because y'all want a part 2, I'm working on that because it's so much. I'm gonna tell you one thing that made me just start crying. I had to stop for a minute and just get back to what I was doing. And I'm gonna get back to that. In the SASCHA Riley tapes, like I think chapter 3 or something. Chapter 2 or 3, because there's a whole bunch of chapters. It was him and two girls, right? And things were going really bad. And things were going really bad, really long, for a long time. And him being a boy, SASCHA Riley was a boy. He was able to endure all of this because his dad was like this big, tough guy that believed in the tougher you are, the better you are. So SASCHA had the mindset of, I'm not going to let y'all break me. So if y'all break my ribs, you're not going to break my mind. I don't care. So no matter what they did to Sasha Riley, he's just like, and it kind of like fueled him because we're males, right? But the two females that were with him were actually being treated worse. And why was the females treated worse, you may ask? Why were the females treated worse? Does anybody want to guess? Does anybody want to guess? The reason why the females were treated worse, according to Sasha Riley, they literally told him that you're good. We're not going to do these things to you because girls are a dime a dozen. It's not easy to find boys. I don't even know what that means because there's males and females everywhere. But that's what they explained to him, because the things that they were doing to them were way worse than the things they were doing to him. So going back to what literally made me cry is that one of the girls was just like, I'm done. I can't do this no more. So I need you to get me out of here. And for YouTube purposes, because I don't want this video to get flagged, that's all I'm going to say about get me out of here. And guess what? He was like, no, I'm not doing that. And she turns around and says, I want to get out of here with the two people that I love. I don't want to get out of here over there with them or out there with them. Because I guess, they're over here until they come back, right? So it's a time where they're by themselves and they're just like, right? And she's like, yo, get me out of here. He's like, why would I do that? Because I want to go with my friends. It's kind of like if it's a plane crash and next thing you know, you survive the plane crash, but now you fall you drop out of the air and then you fall into an ocean full of sharks. You'll be like, yo, I would rather die in a plane crash instead of being in this ocean full of sharks, right? So now you just in the ocean like, oh shit, I feel better, if I died in a plane crash, right? So certain ways to go are easier to deal with versus other ways to go. So she's like, yo, I would rather go this way than out there with them. And he did it. He did it. And I was like, oh my God. And then the adults turned around and said, you're worse than us because you did A, B, and C. We're just, but you did more heinous things than we did. And he's like, and he's a kid. He's like 12. And they're now guilt tripping him and saying, we didn't do that. We didn't unalive nobody, but you did. So you're worse than we are. And I'm like, yo, the psychological side of this, you're literally, Sasha Riley is a male. Sasha Riley is a male, is a male. And he was with two females in this situation. So just imagine somebody you care about being like, yo, get me up out of here. I can't do this. I would rather do this here than right? And you just like, I don't want to do this, but I got to respect your wishes. And then you do it and you got that guilt of doing it, right? And all of a sudden they like, ha, you're a terrible person. You thought we were terrible. Look what you just did. I was like, yo. I was like, yo. So let me keep going because I got a lot to cover, and make sure you hit the like button. Everybody take a second to hit the thumbs up button. Everybody take a second to hit the thumbs up button. And if you see the hype button, make sure to hype this video if you see it. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. Make sure to hit the hype button and hit the thumbs up button. Some of y'all might not see the hype button, but if you see it, hit it. That means it hypes the video. All right, so let's keep going.
Which is based in San Francisco. A girl came forward in 1987 and she identified him, Aquino, as the culprit. An investigation was launched. The police believed she was telling the truth, but they had to close the case because of insufficient evidence that was found. Even though she was able to describe the house where she was taken to, they said there was insufficient evidence.
Everything that happens in the military just gets thrown up under the rug. To a certain degree, the same things that happen in Romania. Hold on, y'all. I don't know why it's lagging a little bit. With the Romanian Angels Project. 2 colonels, both of them being brought up on charges, and both charges get thrown out. And we're going to get deeper into the military aspect of this and why the military aspect actually makes everything work properly.
Now, it's worth noting that Michael Aquino was trained at Fort Huachuca. Yeah, Fort Huachuca, as we've now established, is the hub for intel operations. And there have been a lot of scandals that have happened at Fort Huachuca. And man, did we all endure and survive a psychological operation when Mitch Snow came and told us that he saw Brian Harpole and he saw Erika Kirk.
See, then I had no understanding or idea of how important Fort Huachuca was when Mitch Snow came on her show.
At Fort Huachuca in the days leading up to Charlie's assassination, different days. But man, we were going, what is happening? Why do we feel like the whole internet is screaming at us? Yeah, well, that's the home of Army intel psychological operations, and you should know that. Anyway.
And like I said, and like she just said, that's the significance of Fort Huachuca. One, it sits on the border of Mexico. The border of Mexico. And then 2, it's the home of psychological operations. They specialize out of all the forts, and I've been on a couple forts because, like I said, I work with the Department of Defense. Most forts, like the fort I was on, specialized in jumping out of planes. It was like a jump. It was like they called it jump school. So different forts around the world, they specialize in certain things. We specialize in jump school and jumping out of planes and stuff like that. But Fort Huachuca specialized in psychological operations.
We now should discuss why it's just so hard for Turning Point USA to stay away. I showed you this chart from these trafficking connections, and you're just not going to believe a relationship that they are not severing. I just find it weird. Like, where
they can't sever the relationships because literally almost, I'll just say almost for the sake of argument, literally almost every last one of these people that are adjacently connected to Turning Point USA has something to do with sexual misconduct. But why? See, this is the reason why I'm doing this video. The why will help you understand. The reason why is because of this ritualistic nature of all of this. It's about the donors. If certain types of people are funding your company, it attracts more of those same people. See, when you become a rest haven for PDF files, more PDF files start coming to you for you to be a rest haven for them also. Next thing you know, everybody in this type of world or this type of community comes directly to you because you have proven yourself as a company to be a rest haven for PDF files. When you earn the trust of any community, whether negative or positive, word of mouth travels, and next thing you know, everybody ends up telling all their friends, and you become the actual place where this community feels the most comfortable working with. So next thing you know, all these ritualistic, Satan worshiping, weird PDF file people start congregating in one place or start funding one company in order to empower their agenda.
What is going on with Harvest Church and Greg Laurie? Here's an article which tells us that Greg Laurie, there's been a number of lawsuits filed against Harvest Christian Fellowship, the founder, Greg Laurie, and also the churches related to alleged abuse of young men.
Every single time. But the main thing that we're starting to understand is all of this is ritualistic. All of this, or a lot of this, has something to do with devil worship. And who does the devil actually want? Your kids.
At a children's home in Romania. Okay, there's 12 lawsuits, actually. The original
Romania again. Let me back up. Romania all over again.
The founder, Greg Laurie, and also the churches related to alleged abuse of young men at a children's.
Miss Lego, please release part 2 of the Henry Dales interview. Part 1 was fascinating. I definitely am working on part 2 as we speak.
Children's home in Romania. Okay, there's 12 lawsuits, actually, claiming that Paul Havsgaard, he is a former pastor and a missionary at Harvest Christian Fellowship in Riverside, California. So that's that area.
See, everything is mixed with military personnel and pastors over and over and over again. Military personnel and pastors.
Where they're all from, Colvette's from there, that area. He's from Santa Barbara.
Actually, to be honest with you, I DM'd Henry Dales and I just thought about it. He hasn't hit me back. So, just a side note, I reached out to Henry Dales. Allie, are you in here? I reached out to Henry. I think I told you, Allie. He ain't never hit me back. Remember that you said, I'm talking to Allie in particular. Do you remember when you said that Henry mysteriously deleted like a whole bunch of stuff off of his page? I hit him up that day and I was like, yo, let's do a part 2. He has never hit me back. So I don't know. So Henry, if you're watching this, I would love to do a part 2. Part 1 was amazing. And nobody knows why you kind of like disappeared. So, and I'm not saying you disappeared like you're missing, but you haven't responded. So my audience is looking for a part 2 of the conversation we had because I think it was great. So if y'all know Henry Dales, make sure to send him a DM and say Mr. Let Go wants to do a part 2 and have him on his show. I mean, so yeah, I would love to do it too, but he ain't hit me back. But something is going on with his page, so I don't know. Damn, he ain't hit you back either, Allie? Yeah, it's something going on. Oh, he's just busy? Okay, cool. As long as he's safe. So Henry Dales is safe, according to Allie. Allie just said he's just busy, so that's cool. She heard from him.
Actually, McCoys are from there, and they're alleging that he abused them at a children's shelter in Bucharest, Romania.
You see, everything has something to do with tadpoles. I said in the Scooby-Doo chat months ago, way before we even talked about this, I said, I want all of y'all to understand everything that you see on TV and, to be honest with you, social media, TV, movies, and social media is all wrapped around tadpole traffic lights. It was even a woman. It was a woman that I ran across. This is a random thought. I ran across. She talks about, get her cheeks clapped all the time, right? And she tells all these crazy stories about, her situations with different guys, right? And then one time she said, hey, I just want to let y'all know the reason why I talk about this all the time is because I was N-worded through my entire childhood. I was like, whoa. And I'm like, damn, her little escapades were just interesting. And She was N-worded and traffic lighted. And I was like, whoa. So I'm going to keep going. But yeah. So everything you see has something to do with tadpole traffic lights, whether it's church, whether it's the military, whether it's Disney, whether it's Nickelodeon. Oh, speaking of that, let me see if I got this. Speaking of that, some of y'all seen this, but some of y'all have not. So I'm just gonna play this. Hopefully this won't ruin your childhood.
No, not SpongeBob. No, fucking bro. Do not scroll, because I am about to show you some shit that is about to destroy your childhood. I'm sorry, but if I found it out, y'all gotta know too, because what the fuck? Now, before I say anything, please like, share, and please follow. Please follow, because I need everybody to fucking see.
Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to hit the like button. And thank you to the people who just came in. Make sure to hit the like button. So, yes, we're going to talk about SpongeBob. Yes. We're going to get back to the other stuff. But I'm trying to let y'all know that everything has something to do with tadpole traffic lights. Got to watch my mouth on YouTube.
See this, okay? So we all know that SpongeBob's address on his license is 124 Con Street, Bikini Bottom, right? Oh my.
Did y'all know Bikini Bottom was actually an address? Put a 1 in the chat if you knew it was a real address on SpongeBob's license. See, they love to put things in your face and just tell you what they're doing. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all know that the address on SpongeBob's license was a real address. Watch this.
God. So I decided to type this address on Google Earth. Okay. See that 124? Yeah. Okay. Why the fuck does Little St. James pop up on fucking... Oh my God.
And what is Little St. James?
And for those who don't fucking know, Little St. James is fucking Epstein's Island. What? Not only that,
it gets worse.
but look at the shape of the fucking island. Does it look familiar? Oh my God. Oh my God.
So that was just a little bit, a little piece of, I would say a fun fact. But let's go back to more Romanian angels stuff.
Romania, the allegations include being tied to radio. Colvette's from there, that area. He's from Santa Barbara, actually. McCoys are from there. And they're alleging that he abused them at a children's shelter in Bucharest, Romania. The allegations include being tied to radiators, being made to kneel down on walnut shells, being touched inappropriately, and being pimped out for sex. Now, the number of litigants, as I said, has risen to 12. And the law firm has represented.
So this is a lawsuit, 12 lawsuits. I just want to make sure y'all got that part.
Being tied to radiators, being made to kneel down on walnut shells, being touched inappropriately, and being pimped out for sex. Now, the number of litigants, as I said, has risen to 12, and the law firm that's representing the survivors said in a news release that they're expecting 23 former residents of the home to bring complaints. The most recent complaints were filed in November. The court documents claim that Greg Laurie and the Harvest Christian Fellowship sent funding to Hav's Card, which they obviously did send funding to him while he was there, and they were negligent in supervising him while he was there, despite reports of abuse.
Of course they were negligent, because they just want to sweep everything under the rug. So the main context, I just want to make sure everybody understands exactly what's going on. The military is the power, and evangelistic part of this is the direction. It's the rituals. So we have the cult, and then we have the protection of the cult, which is the military. You can't get away with all these things without the military being involved. The cult stuff isn't the biggest part. It's the protection of the cult stuff, which is the military. And real quick, We got almost 1,200 people in here. Can everybody please just take a second and hit the thumbs up button? Our likes are low. So can y'all just take a second to hit the thumbs up button? I know y'all are enjoying the content, is cool, but as a content creator, I have to get the likes up, because if the likes are low, it's telling YouTube that nobody's watching and the video sucks and nobody cares, right? So to show YouTube that you like the video, you have to hit the thumbs up button. And if you see the hype button, hit the hype button too, but mainly the thumbs up button. So can everybody watching hit the thumbs up button right now so we can get the likes up? Because this will send the video out to more people, because right now y'all watching without liking is telling YouTube that this video sucks. So please and thank you. They wouldn't be able to get away with none of this stuff if it wasn't for the military.
And so he's offering back that, oh, well, that's a pastor that we were funding. It's not the entire church. You know, it's not fair to come after the whole church for what Paul Havsgard is being alleged to have done. I'm saying this is just too many times for me. I don't know about you guys. I'm getting Romanian trafficking fatigue. Okay. I'm getting Ukrainian, Romanian trafficking fatigue.
And this is what's going on, y'all. This is what's going on.
I don't know about you guys. I'm getting Romanian trafficking fatigue.
That's it. Military, pastor, children. Military, pastor, children. Military, pastor, children. Romania, Ukraine. Romania, Ukraine. This is literally the entire narrative of Turning Point USA for decades. Decades. That means way before Charlie Kirk died, this was the narrative of Turning Point USA. I'm not going to just keep sitting here acting like Charlie Kirk did not know none of this stuff, and it was going on for freaking decades. Military, pastors, kids. Hell no, I'm not doing it.
Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button.
Not doing it, y'all.
Okay, I'm getting Ukrainian, Romanian trafficking fatigue. It just can't be that all of these military people that are adjacent to the military, go out there in a place where they're perfectly safe. Actually, they're quite immune to prosecution, because that's the deal that gets
in Romania.
Is like you can do whatever you want on your base. And I'm going, what the heck is going on here? So I reached out to some people that I know, and I say, what is this strand? I don't know much about the military. Why does this keep happening? So I reached out to some people that I know, and I say, what is this strand? I don't know much about the military. Why does this keep happening? And what they told me, and this is also proven currently right now, a bunch of South Korean women have filed a unprecedented lawsuit against the United States military for the same thing, for running a brothel where they are stationed in South Korea. South Korea.
What does South Korea have to do with any of this? Well, right after Charlie Kirk passed away, the strangest thing was happening. Rob McCoy, which is a pastor, started bragging about going to South Korea right after Charlie Kirk went to South Korea. And when he got back, he got deleted. And we all wanted to know, in the Scooby-Doo mystery team, why was he going to South Korea so much? So this is Rob McCoy talking about going to South Korea.
Heading out after this for Phoenix and then on to Korea on Tuesday. They are trying to start a kind of a turning point, young conservatives in Korea movement. And so they're
Turning Point Tadpoles movement. In other words, shout out to the Turning Point Tadpoles.
They invited me to come, which is going to ruin the entire thing.
Korea needs freedom, and the church is the soul of this nation. It's time to stand for truth regardless of the consequences.
한국은 이 자유가 필요합니다. 그리고 교회는 국가의 양심입니다. 그 대한민국을 지키기 위해서 기독교인들이 일어서야 합니다.
A bunch of South Korean women have filed a unprecedented lawsuit against the United States military for the same thing, for running a brothel where they are stationed in South Korea, where they are.
Now remember, who are they suing? An unprecedented lawsuit, class action lawsuit from Korean women. Who are they suing? I want to make sure y'all caught that. Who are they suing? Because I don't think y'all caught it. Who are they suing? See, y'all didn't see that. Who are they suing? I'll back it up for you. Because this is so important, y'all.
국가의 양심입니다. 그 대한민국을 지키기 위해서 기독교인들이 일어서야 합니다.
A bunch of South Korean women have filed a unprecedented lawsuit against the United States military for the same thing, for running a brothel where they are stationed in South Korea. And
the military. Back to when I said I worked for the Department of Defense. The stories that I would hear from different males in the military, they would tell me, and I'm not saying this is all people in the military, but they would go to Kyrgyzstan. They would go here. They would go to different places. Not Kyrgyzstan. That's not the army. That is the Air Force, and the Air Force went to Kyrgyzstan. Seoul, Korea was, I think that was Navy, but certain parts of Korea, they would visit brothels. So many of them told me, "Oh yeah, you get all kinds of all kinds of tail here or there. You know, it's like a mall. The second that you get your stuff together or whatever, you know how you go out on a trip, right? And no matter where you are, it's time to hit the mall, right? Well, with some military men, their mall is the brothels. So they just like, time to go to the mall and pick up 3 chicks. But unbeknownst to the military men, they be tadpoles. And these women are trying to sue the military. Good luck with that.
so what they are telling me adds up. It's tracking. What they say is, okay, think of a military base. Anywhere in the world, you have a bunch of men who do not have regular access to women. Anyway, they tell me is that they will typically send someone out who will be a woman. So think of like a Ghislaine Maxwell to go out and to find them, their interests, their tastes.
Remember, there's always a woman. So for anybody who just wants to run around demonizing men, some of the demons are women also, because I said before that women are needed in order to make everything run properly. Because if you go in a mall and some random man walks up to you and says, hey, you want to come back over here and do this? You're going to be like, no. But some woman, some pretty woman who's like, hey, I'm a model. And if you want to be a model like me, you can come back over here with me and I'll teach you how to be a model. And they was going to be like, yes. And they're going to start doing what is it? Clock it. Yes, girl. And next thing you know, boom. Now you behind bars looking stupid. So I'm just letting y'all know. Women are the main conduits to keep saying it by mistake. Women are the main conduits. That means connection to tadpole traffic lights. Men too. Men are actually doing the terrible things, but women are the conduits to the terrible things. I just need y'all to understand that, because y'all be like, oh, you hate women. No, I'm just including women in this shit because they are included. We can't just act like they aren't. Hold on, let me read the super chats real quick. Shout out to Connie. Thank you for the $5 super sticker. Shout out to Cricky 6979. Miss Lego, thank you for using your platform to speak on this. Thank you, Doc, for the 499 super chat. Thank you. And Cash App is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. And if I get a $50 or more Cash App or super chat, I'll play this song for you.
Super chat. Thank you for the Cash App. Cash App.
So let's keep going.
Where they are stationed in South Korea. And so what they are telling me adds up. It's tracking. What they say is, okay, think of a military base. Anywhere in the world, you have a bunch of men who do not have regular access to women. Anyway, they tell me is that they will typically send someone out who will be a woman. So think of like a Ghislaine Maxwell to go out and to find them, their interests, their tastes, young women that can be manipulated. That person will often describe themselves as a casting director to go out there and to tell the women to come onto the base. Once they're on the base, anything can happen to them. Like I said, they are afforded no protections from their government, and our government is not going to prosecute the men that do anything on that base. That's how the typical deal works.
So now I'm about to add the last part of this, the SASCHA Riley aspect.
And your adopted dad, William Kyle Riley, worked as a pilot and was involved integrated in
He
the
was
Epstein
involved
Trump
in all
plan.
kinds of things.
Yeah, and he worked a lot with Trump and Epstein, correct?
I know that he was around Epstein and worked with Epstein, and I want to say that he flew for Epstein, and if not for Epstein directly, like transporting Epstein himself, he did transport some of the rich people to and from these parties that Epstein and company hosted. It wasn't just him; it was kind of a cabal of several people, and Epstein was the lead coordinator, maybe you would call it. But it's much more than just him as an individual. You know, it was people like him, like Trump, other people, and I can't remember, like how many, but he was handy to have around because he was a part of the process, and he isn't just like an airline pilot or something like that. He can fly anything. He can fly helicopters, fixed wing, smaller aircraft, larger aircraft. I mean, he's that pilot, that multi-purpose guy that could transport whatever you needed. Because in his mind, if he got caught with some people, he could just play dumb. And I was just transporting this guy's kid to, from the, here to there. I didn't know.
In other words, it's easier to transport tadpoles than it is to transport drugs. That's what he's saying.
Anything.
Did your dad transport the victims most often?
Oh, absolutely.
So more victims than guests. I don't want to call them guests.
I would say more guests than victims, but he definitely transported both.
Okay. And that was either directly for Epstein, it wasn't transporting Epstein so much as Epstein's victims and Epstein's guests.
And the clients.
Okay, yes. The clients.
So earlier in this video, I talked about how SASCHA Riley has a lot to do with all of this stuff. And this is how. SASCHA Riley's story, and I totally believe it. Let me know if you believe it or not in the comments, but I totally believe it. Remember, I talked about adoption agencies or these adjacent adoption agencies. SASCHA Riley's dad adopted him and some other kids in order to rent them out as he flew to these islands and farms. So once he touched down, he got paid to fly the people there, but also he got paid to rent out his adopted children, which brings me to the assumption, because I don't want nothing to happen to me. I don't want to get unalived. I don't want to get sued, and I don't want to get my channel taken down. So I'm just going to say this. This is for entertainment purposes only. But do you remember how Candace Owens talked about how virtually every time Charlie Kirk had a debate at a school, there was a plane that was parked somewhere in that vicinity? Thinking about SASCHA Riley's dad, him being a pilot, what if, and this is just what if, because I don't know, I don't want to get in any trouble because we're talking about the military here. What if every time Charlie Kirk had a debate at a college and it was thousands of students at each time, 1, 2, maybe 5 students mysteriously go missing, end up on the plane, going to one of these places that SASCHA Riley went to? See, with everything I'm learning, hold on, y'all, I started messing up, so give me a second. Mysteriously go missing, end up on the plane, going. All right, so and back it up. Sorry. What if, and this is just what if, because I don't know, I don't want to get in any trouble because we're talking about the military here. What if every time Charlie Kirk had a debate at a college and it was thousands of students at each time, 1, 2, maybe 5 students mysteriously go missing, end up on the plane, going to one of these places SASCHA Riley went to? See, with everything I'm learning, the planes are an integral part of all of this. Because do you remember the movie Blink Twice? The only way you can get to one of these islands, because it's not just Epstein Island, there's islands all over the world, and they're owned by billionaires. And there's no police, no cameras, no nothing. So in the movie Blink Twice, just as an example, after they had the events, I think in the movie they were selling art or it was some type of get together or whatever. The guys would go around flirting with the young women.
We're going to my island for a few days. Do you guys want to come? This is crazy.
And they would do what? Offer the women to fly on their private jet to their personal island. You ladies want to come on my private jet and go to my private island? And if it's some young college students, they're like, hell yeah, I want to go to a private island. And next thing you know, is a plane 15, 20 minutes away, and boom, they're now somebody's slave. Now, I don't have proof of this. I'm just pontificating, because as I was listening to the SASCHA Riley audios, the first thing I thought was the planes, the islands. They need the plane. They need the pilot to take everybody to the island. The planes. And remember, these were military planes. And what did I say about the military? That is the protection. See, a military plane can go in different airspaces with no problem versus just a private jet, because military planes and private jets are marked differently. There's certain things that military planes can do and go versus a private jet. So somebody says, I love that how Candace is finally going there. I totally agree, because I've been talking about this stuff since day one, and I'm glad Candace is finally in it. So because, you know, we need Candace to talk about this for the, you know, go farther. So I totally agree. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there for Candace or anybody else to get a hold of more information pertaining to my, I would say, blink twice theory, like the movie. So let's go down the list. The Michael and the negative control. We understand that. Hold on, y'all. Why is it messing up? Like, what the hell? Sorry, y'all. Planes and private jets are marked differently. There's certain things that military planes can do and go versus a private jet. So I don't know. I'm just putting it out there for Candace or anybody else to get a hold of more information pertaining to my, I would say, blink twice theory, like the movie. So let's go down the list. The Michael Aquino and the narrative control. We understand that the co-writer of the book that he wrote is on the advisory council of Turning Point USA. The evangelistic churches, that is the cult. So they've come close to taking over almost every major church on the West Coast. Turning Point USA was recently bragging about how many chapters they have in almost every college in the United States. Erika Kirk said that herself at AmFest. And thirdly, I would say most importantly, the orphans, the adoption agencies, and the children of the orphans. Remember, I did a live stream about the baby Amazoning that it seems like some of these places are doing. A young girl ends up pregnant, and then they turn around and coerce. Yeah, I think it's the actual video and not me. So I think the video, so it's not me. Her to give the baby away for adoption, and then nobody ever knows where the baby actually went. The significance of Fort Huachuca is because it's right at the Mexican border. That's easy to understand. The Satan worship gives you an understanding of why they're doing this, because a lot of you are just like, but why? I don't understand. These people don't have souls. Well, that is the actual point. I showed you in this video that in order to become a god in their world, not in my world, you have to do inhumane things and actually provoke suffering in order to become this godlike figure. So it's what they have to do in order to ascend. Because remember, I'm all about the why and not about the how. And of course, with the planes, I just explained possibly why every time Charlie Kirk had a debate at a college, there was a foreign or military plane sitting 20 minutes away. And that's my blink twice theory. And remember, and some of you may say, well, wouldn't missing girls show up if every time Charlie Kirk landed and did a show, they just disappeared? The answer is no, for two different reasons. One, these are college kids, which means that a lot of the college kids don't live with their parents. So if your college kid is in college in another state and you haven't heard from her in a week, you might be like, what? Why haven't I heard from my daughter? But it's not going to be like, oh my God, she's gone missing. No. So it might take a parent 2 weeks to actually report their daughter missing. By then, the girl was missing 2 weeks, sometimes a month, after Charlie Kirk has been gone already. So nobody would ever say that every time Charlie Kirk did a show or an event, girls went missing. because they're not going missing until they're reported missing. And if the girl or boy didn't go, isn't living at home, who's going to report them missing? Yeah, you think their classmate is going to report them missing? No. They're just going to be like, oh, they must have went home. So the person that's the roommate or whatever would probably think they went back home for whatever reason, dropped out of school, and the mother or the father is going to think that the daughter is in school and just not calling back when they call them. You know, all of our daughters don't answer the phone sometimes. You're not going to just run around calling the police every time they don't answer the phone. So it would take about a week for somebody, at least a week, to get reported missing, because you know these girls are like 18, 20, something like that. They got their own lives. Now, you know, so the reporting of them is going to be weeks or maybe a month after Charlie Kirk is already gone. The second thing is, some of y'all may not know this, but 22,000 women go missing every 30 days. I'll say it again. 22,000 females go missing every 30 days. So it's almost a normality for a girl to go missing. So the police station aren't like, oh my God, oh, girl went missing. Let's get the dogs and get the flashlights and start walking in the woods. Nope. They're like, oh, damn, another girl is missing. What is going on around here? Ain't nobody getting no hound dogs walking through no damn woods for no damn missing girl. Sorry, but it happens all the time. And with girls being just girls, ain't nobody running around looking for no damn girl, and she probably with her boyfriend. She probably mad at her mama, ain't answering the phone. Ain't nobody going through all that. So yes, girls can get missing at, not saying that they are, I'm just pontificating. If girls end up going on the plane that is around the corner from the event and get taken to an island, nobody's going to notice that she's gone. Sorry. It just is what it is. So put a 1 in the chat if y'all seen the movie Blink Twice. I don't know if I asked y'all that. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all seen the movie Blink Twice. So I want to show y'all what. Check this out.
Of course, I'm scared at the farm because I don't know what's going to happen. But the first person that comes up to me is a girl named Patricia. This is a girl that I had been trafficked with before. And she came running up to me and, you know, said hello or whatever. She was about my same age, around 12 or 13. And I can remember my dad saying, well, why don't you guys go run off and or whatever and have fun? We went and found a room. People burst into the room. It would have been 4, 5, 6 guys, big guys, adults. At least one of them had a gun. I think 2 or 3 of them had guns. But they came in, they her while she was still in the bed. They didn't me, but what they said was, if you don't do everything that the next person coming in here wants, we're going to shoot you just like we did her. That's when Trump came in. So that's why I remember him so vividly.
Okay, just making sure y'all heard what he said, right? He said that's when Trump came in. I just want to make sure y'all hear the audio properly. Did y'all hear when he said that's when Trump came in? So let me back it up a little bit.
Was, if you don't do everything that the next person coming in here wants, we're going to shoot you just like we did her. That's when Trump came in. So that's why I remember him so vividly. And it was at that point I had already decided they're probably just going to anyway. I'm going to take him with them. And I tried, but I did not.
How did you, Trump's?
What did he do?
A sadistic psychopath.
Right here, she asked him, did he do this and do this? You can imagine what this and this is.
Yes. So
and
at one point, well, I kind of acquiesced to whatever things that he wanted to do. But at some point, he wanted me to. So he lay down on his stomach. And there was a wooden tent stake that was in the room. And I had been eyeballing it as a weapon. And what I did was put the condom on the wooden thin stake.
Oh.
And I kicked it as hard as I could. And that's why he had to get life flighted out, because I ripped him open.
Oh.
Because there's poetic justice there.
Like an entire party's worth of people. So they took...
After Trump was airlifted out?
Yeah, a whole nother party. So they took me to another party after that, and because I had done that to one of those rich people, they took me from like station to station, and they could do whatever they wanted. The room was spinning. I was nauseous, probably throwing up, maybe some broken bones, badly.
And how many perpetrators did you say again? 20 to 40, 25 to 40 perpetrators?
People that were there, yes, I would say probably 8 or 10 that remember. I can remember getting hurt, just getting beaten up and,
Was that before you tried to defend yourself from Trump or after? Do you remember?
That was after. That was as a punishment, if you want to call it that. What happened at that party was part of the punishment, and then I can remember them saying that this is the last of it when I had to go see Andy Biggs, and I can remember my dad saying no more. I can remember him even kind of breaking down a little bit, like psychologically, because I guess the repeated watching me just get destroyed by people. I kind of survived some of that just out of spite, to be honest with you. There's really no other way to put it, but I was.
See, right here, he said, I just had to survive some of this out of spite, because he's like, I'm not going to let them unalive me. And if they do, I'm going to take somebody, with me. Right. But the girls, like I said earlier, they were girls and they couldn't deal with it. And one of the girls was like, I need you to, and he's like, I'm not going to do that. And she's like, please, I need you to do it, because it's going to end up happening. I can't go through this no more. So he turns around and just like, okay. And she's out of here. And he's dealing with this guilt of what he just did as a, tadpole. You're a tadpole. You just did this. And then all of a sudden, they come in there and they said, you did this. You're worse than us because we didn't do that. Even though they did, because in one of these stories, when he was in a room with another girl, they didn't want him and her to be clapping cheeks. So they got mad at the girl and got her out of here with a pow pow like it was nothing, and just dragged the damn mattress along with everything else just out the door, and then like it was nothing. And the connection to all of this, and the reason why I'm connecting SASCHA Riley to Turning Point USA, is because it's looking like, because I don't have all the proof, and I don't want to get sued, and I don't want to get nobody coming to my door. It seems like Turning Point USA and companies like Turning Point USA are serving as the woman, what's her name? Gail. What is Epstein's Ghislaine Maxwell? Ghislaine Maxwell. So the entire company as a whole is operating as a Ghislaine Maxwell for PDF files. That's my opinion. The way everything is strategized, where every one of these damn people connected to Turning Point USA has some type of sexual misconduct accusation, is assumably because they're using the entire company as a Ghislaine Maxwell. So instead of just finding a woman that will recruit, people, they're using the entire company of Turning Point USA to recruit thousands of people all at one time. Because Ghislaine Maxwell can just walk in a mall and recruit like 5 girls. But Turning Point USA can turn around and recruit 1,000 to 5,000 girls all at one time. So it's a possibility that Turning Point USA is a quintessential Ghislaine Maxwell. That's what I'm deducting from all of this. I may be wrong. And Charlie Kirk knew. I'm sick of this. Maybe Charlie Kirk didn't do. No, Charlie Kirk knew all this shit. But what do you think? Drop in the comments right now. What do you think? So I'm going to play one more thing that is extremely interesting. And we're going to get up out of here and look at these playoff games. Check this out.
Or two to really live with SASCHA Riley's.
So let me get it right. All right, let's go.
Okay, now that we've had a day or two to really live with SASCHA Riley's story, I'm going to
Hold on. Before we do this, because this is important.
Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button.
Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, and hit the like button. Make sure to hit the like button. Some of y'all have not hit the like button yet. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. You, Robert, hit the like button. Lisa, we're waiting on you. Lisa, like, hit the like button. Sandra, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Come on, hit the like button. I'm looking at you. You have not hit the like button yet. Yeah, you. Hit the like button.
take you through my deep dive process, because so far I have found not a single shred.
What is going on? Oh, here we go.
Okay, now that we've had a day or two to really live with SASCHA Riley's story, I'm going to take you through my deep dive process. Because so far, I have found not a single shred of evidence that discredits anything that SASCHA has said. And for the record, everybody, SASCHA goes by they, them pronouns, so that's how I will be referring to them. Now remember, this is all alleged, my own opinions, and please don't contact anyone. So starting in 2021, SASCHA was being public about what their father did to them. He also...
So she's talking about SASCHA Riley, just to make sure. And SASCHA Riley just posted a tweet on X saying, let me pull up the tweet. So the tweet says, "Peekaboo, remember me? I'm the kid that you almost unalived." SASCHA Riley is in the streets still going off on people.
Also have been publicly accusing their father of trying to unalive them, being completely consistent with what we heard in that interview. I also confirmed that they did live at this address that's mentioned here. And again, all of the details are matching up. Also pay attention to the date that they were publicly coming out and talking about this right when the transfer of power to Joe Biden was happening. And after hearing the interview, we know why. I also found another picture of SASCHA as a child along with Irene, the original wife. Again, we don't know how much she was involved in all of this. And I'll be honest, I couldn't find a trace of her anywhere. So I've had to put a pin in Irene for now. This is William Kyle Riley, and I'm going to try not to cry as I say this, but he and his newest wife, Cindy, and with everything in my body, I am hoping that this 6-year-old child does not live with them, even though they clearly have a room. But I did in fact confirm that William Kyle Riley is a pilot. Now through William, I was able to track down Mary Lynn Riley, and sure enough, in 2018, she's there as being dead.
So William Kyle Riley is a pilot, and he was the one or one of the many pilots that were paid to transport victims to the islands. And that's a key factor of all of this. Why were all of these yellow planes and the red plane and the purple plane and the blue plane around Charlie Kirk? Possibly waiting for victims to get on the plane so they could be flew out to an island. Maybe. Possibly. I don't know. Don't want to get sued.
Through her date of death, I was able to track down the picture of this monster as well. And on the surface, it seems like a normal obituary, right? Until you start reading it. Because as much as they talk about all the things about Lynn, they never talk about things like her profession, nor do they mention the time she lived in Georgia and Indiana and Missouri. These people moved around all the time, as if they were trying to keep people from catching on. And then you get to the surviving section, and there's not a single mention of anybody in the Riley family. She talks about her first husband, but not of her second one, nor the adopted child she helped raise. Because her first husband is listed as deceased. They got married the year after they left high school. So who raised their children? Because I sure as fuck hope that they weren't living with this woman, a woman who kept the last name Riley up until her death. I don't know, there's just something off about it. Now, I personally suspect that they were using false identities. Because in her background check, I found a nurse's license. Yeah, she was a nurse. A nursing license she didn't get until 1995 under the name Mary Joan Riley in the state of Indiana, of which she has no record of living there. And in the same background check, all of this I found in the same place. I found her under Maria Riley, and she lived on Trump Drive in Indiana. Anyway.
Not Trump Drive. She lived on Trump Drive? Wow.
I looked up the address. It was in a trailer park, and I looked up the whole trailer park that it's in. And guys, the rest of these streets are like names of people. Kirk, Megan, Ashley Joe, Tammy Renee, Dustin, Mindy, Travis. I mean, the fact that they lived on Trump Drive in a trailer park with Samantha Drive, I fully recognize that it's basically nothing. But Trump likes to put his name on everything. I just hope this isn't like a weird trophy of some kind. I want to bring this back to wife number 3 for a second, because Cindy, I have some questions about. Because I had this weird feeling that William K. Riley was the kind of guy who would put things in his spouse's name to cover up his involvement. And one of the properties that was listed under her and William had been previously owned by the Deutsche Bank. Yes, that Dutch bank. The Dutch bank that Epstein talked about all the time being Trump's downfall.
See, that Deutsche Bank had a lot to do with how Epstein was like distributing funds to all these other people that were helping him.
Same bank that was sued by Epstein's victims for $75 million. The same bank that was subpoenaed by the Manhattan DA. The one that Trump sued to block the release of. The one that was fined $150 million for working with Epstein. Oh, at a little single family residence in Georgia.
Hold on, y'all. It was messing up a little bit. Let me back it up. Sorry.
Downfall. The same bank that was sued by Epstein's victims for $75 million. The same bank that was subpoenaed by the Manhattan DA. The one that Trump sued to block the release of. The one that was fined $150 million for working with Epstein. Now, what would a little single family residence in Georgia be doing owned by a trust from the Dutch bank? A trust that was out of Richmond, Virginia. Now, silly me, I was so flabbergasted with that discovery that I forgot to take a screen grab of the address that was associated with. So today, when I went to go find the address again, I went to Cindy's profile and this happened. That's not the only weird thing about these properties, because I just chose a property at random. When I say that there was probably about 15 addresses listed for these people, I'm not exaggerating. And a lot of sketchy P.O. boxes. But this property in Georgia was sold to an Anthony and Cheryl Sisko. Now, according to his own website, he's an author, a cartoonist, an evangelist, an entrepreneur, a husband, and father. But then I saw him mention on the website that his ministry stretched from Alabama to Boston to Atlanta. But if you go to his LinkedIn...
Ministry. Everybody is a military pastor. Ministry. Here we go again. A minister pilot. Oh my God.
He's actually the director of strategic recruiting at a cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, cloud, whatever business, with over 20 years of experience in the recruiting industry. Oh, and let's not forget all of his experience at Harvard Business School. But then I looked at his wife's page. She goes from a bank teller in Florida to an export coordinator in the Middle East, Africa, and Europe to an adoption service, then owned a family wedding business, then spent 6 more years.
Another adoption service. Another freaking adoption service. This is what they do. So I need to add that. Pastor, military, adoption service. Pastor, military, adoption service. Every last one of these situations.
Years as an export coordinator. Again, this could be nothing. But in 1996, they had a business attached to it called Choice Care Inc. And this is what came up. And this is on the official Georgia Health site. 2017, this property was sold to Southern Crescent SA Child and Advocacy Center, Inc.
And they always want to advocate for the same thing that they're actually doing. Hold on real quick. Mandy says, Mr. Let Go, you realize that when you say Charlie Kirk was involved in blah, 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 Candace definitely co-signs it and is okay with it. I don't agree with that. Because one, I don't think Candace knew what Charlie Kirk was doing. And I don't think Charlie Kirk was hands-on in all of these things. I don't think Charlie Kirk was around at all. I just think Charlie Kirk knew about it. And there was possibly a lawsuit coming down that was going to tear down Charlie Kirk and the whole Turning Point USA. And if Charlie Kirk was to conveniently pass away, no lawsuit. So that doesn't mean Candace Owens knew all this. Knew all what? Like I said, I don't think Charlie Kirk had anything to do with this, but he knew about it, in my opinion. And it's kind of like what they do over there ain't got nothing to do with me, but unbeknownst to him, you're the CEO of Turning Point USA, so that means you go down too.
Is solely owned by Republican Georgia State Representative.
Oh my God.
Adoption service, then owned a family wedding business, then spent 6 more years as an export coordinator. Again, this could be nothing, but in 1996, they had a business attached to it called Choice Care Inc. And this is what came up when, and this is on the official Georgia Health site. 2017, this property was sold to Southern Crescent SA Child and Advocacy Center, Inc. is solely owned by Republican Georgia State Representative Karen Mathiak, who mentions this nowhere on any of her political websites. Originally formed in 2000, whose address prior to this was this random warehouse, not even kidding, whose address is listed as a P.O. box in another city, where the Rileys also just so happened to have a fucking P.O. box, beginning the same year that this became a registered government entity. Did I also mention it's across the street from a decommissioned train station? And that was one property, y'all. A ton of their addresses have medically sounding businesses like registered to them, like Emergency Sky Care. I mean, look at William K. Riley's sketchy LinkedIn, unless there's another Bill Riley who also lives in Ranger, Georgia. Now look right here under the education part though, because those are the same years that a lot of the, abuse was happening according to SASCHA. Because human resources sound sketchy as hell too. And I've never seen so many people endorse a profile before, let alone one that only has 12 years of experience listed.
And I just want to say, I want to shout out to this woman right here. Her name is J. Megan, Megan, on YouTube. So shout out to J. Megan. I would say Megan. J. Megan on YouTube. Shout out to her.
Speaking of weird documentation, now this is another big one for me because SASCHA's background check said that they did not get a social security number issued to them until around 1987-88, not till they were like 14 or 15 years old. A lot of us are used to the system now where you're just automatically given a social security number at birth, but back then you had to request it. So it's easy to say, oh, well, the parents just didn't request a social security number until, they were getting a job or something. Except SASCHA was adopted, y'all, meaning they would have needed a social security number
already
to adopt them. I know SASCHA said in their interview they just tracked down who their birth parents were. SASCHA said their birth parents were located in Oklahoma. Do y'all remember the FBI tip about the girl from Oklahoma? Geographically, that fits into this puzzle. Okay, hold on guys. Something has come up while I was in the middle of making this video that I need to research. And I still have more to get through, frankly. So I'm going to do a part 2 of, okay, jumping right back into my SASCHA Riley deep dive. So I guess this is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, go watch it because I'm going to be building on the information that I did in that. Just remember, this is all alleged and my own opinion. So I want to jump back into the property I was talking about in the last video, the SA Center and the Child Advocacy one, the one run by a Georgia State Representative. So William and Lynn Riley owned that property from 1995 to 2003 when they sold it to the Ciscos. Then the Ciscos sold it in 2010 to something called IndyMac. And I was just curious where that was going to lead me, because IndyMac was a mortgage loan and trust bank that failed in 2008. It collapsed. So I'm curious how they were able to sell it in July of 2010. By the way, in 2008, just before the collapse, the Center for Responsible Lending, a Washington think tank, released a report compiling all of the lawsuits against the Indy Bank by customers and former employees who said that their managers and supervisors pressured them into approving loans or they would risk being fired. Only reason to do that is if there's shady stuff going on. Now, I need y'all to buckle the F up for this next part. Remember how we talked about Samantha and how they used to record CP? Now, Samantha was tortured by both of the parents, and they mentioned that it was in a duplex in Enterprise, Alabama. Yes, there is an address literally in Enterprise, Alabama, that is associated with William Riley. Here's the thing, I tried to type in this address. Nothing comes up because Gilbert Street is only these 2 blocks. I will say I found a house that does look like it is a former converted duplex. Just weird that there's 2 doors and no pathway for either of them. So why is the address wrong? And I thought, well, maybe it's one of those things that was just wrote down wrong somewhere. Or it's been almost 40 years. Maybe there was development on the side of the street. But then I looked at this pin. That pin location shows Glover Street, not Gilbert. And they aren't far from each other, but not so close that it would be an honest mistake by the computer. So on a whim, I decided to type in the same address, just replacing it with Glover Street. And guess whose address that goes to? Yep. Yeah.
Did y'all see that?
Then I looked at this pin. That pin location shows Glover Street, not Gilbert. And they aren't far from each other, but not so close that it would be an honest mistake by the computer. So on a whim, I decided to type in the same address, just replacing it with Glover Street. And guess whose address that goes to?
Y'all see that? United States Department of the Army.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, what? That can't,
Military Pastor Adoption Agency. Military is the protection. The pastor or the church is the direction. And the adoption agency is the access.
Maybe it's just another one of those weird things I'm finding on this path. But I'm going to touch on just one more thing before I go. So when I was running Mary Lynn's background, I ran into something that I've never run into before, ever. In all of my background checks I've ever run. I ran into the most amount of email addresses associated with a name that I have ever experienced in my entire life. We're talking about .orgs, we've got small businesses, big businesses, and all of these are some reason registered to Mary Lynn. I've never encountered this many before, guys. I run into maybe 10, 15 tops, and a lot of them are the same names over and over again with different organizations. Like, it's still going. And the names associated with those names are legit, it seems. Like, it's almost overwhelming for me to try and research all those. But so many of them are James Young or Jim Young. Like 30 of them. Like these two, they're both that guy's business. I mean, she's got business emails from Profoma. This one right here, J.J. Young from City of Key West, Florida.gov. He was literally arrested this year because somebody tapped into a Zoom video interview and disclosed their contents. Like, they hacked into somebody's Zoom. And Jim Young was charged with tampering with physical evidence. And why does he have a government email? Well, because he's the city code and ordinance inspector. So he's the guy who knows where all the abandoned and shuttered buildings are. Oh, and one of those emails? Yeah, J. Young Films. Like I said, I haven't found a single thing to discredit SASCHA Riley's story.
And just to add a little bit more of a connection.
Miss Camino.
So just to add a little bit more of a connection, because we're like knee deep in tadpole traffic lights right now. So I'm just going to add one other thing to the fire. And of course, Candace did this probably a month ago.
Kimono was a man who was factually put away into prison for abuse.
and M-wording tadpoles.
Young girls by pretending. How he did this was he pretended that his cat was lost. Okay. I'm going to read you an email that I received from one of his victims who is now an adult, but she was just an eight-year-old child back in 1995. Here's what it reads in part. Okay. I was 8 years old, living in Dana Point, California, when Thomas approached my friend and I to help him find his cat.
I'm going to fast forward a little bit because I think it's some stuff that will get me demonetized. So let me fast forward a little bit.
In 4 months last year, more than 4 months last year. Term might said the cat ruse preyed on the girl's innocence. Camino's lawyer said his client, who had previously maintained his innocence, was now admitting his guilt. Attorney Danny Davis sought a shorter 6-year sentence, arguing that the maximum term might harm any chance for needing psychological counseling and rehabilitation. Camino terrorized the Dana Point neighborhood for more than 4 months last year.
So you may not know who Camino is, you might not care, but look who shows up on Rob McCoy's podcast. This Camino dude.
In a dentist office, and then they just keep asking her leading question after leading question, and the kid's not giving them what they want. Eventually, they get her to say that there was some inappropriate touching on that. She sort of says it, sort of denies it, but it's all they needed. Now they can go out and arrest somebody, and they obviously don't care who they arrest.
They don't care about who they arrest. Sir, you went to prison. There was proof, you dummy. There was proof. They might arrest somebody that doesn't have proof, but they don't convict somebody without proof. They convicted you, sir. You did 8 years in prison.
And the cops had lined up like 16 different guys of a certain look or whatever. And some of us, I was one of them, were under surveillance. And so they had pictures of us.
They were under surveillance.
And they got enough people to say, that looks like the guy. So they went and got me. Then they come over to my place with the search. They bring me in the search warrant over to my place.
Now they're searching his home.
And they have 17 specific items.
17 items.
That they're looking for. They get 11 of them.
They find 11 of the 17 items in his house. And he's acting like he's innocent. They just found me for no reason. But the problem is, this piece of crap person sitting next to him, interviewing him, is Rob McCoy, and he allows him to come back to his damn piece of crap church around children all over again.
Which sounds kind of bad until you read what it is. I get arrested.
This man said, sounds kind of bad. So fast forward.
So I'm just saying some of these details because this whole thing is a total sham. My lawyer comes to me and goes, they say forensic trial hearing. Jury goes, have a record, so you get a...
Me to remind me about this, people who posted and said this is absurd and brought it forward into Rob's church and said it's absurd that you are allowing him to be around youth despite his record. Just incredible, okay? The person...
This man goes to prison for something this crazy and gets let out of prison after doing 8 years and goes straight to the church, and he brings this freaking man around children in the damn church.
Took the stand, still remembers and emailed me, but somehow he's the victim, and Rob wants that to come across. He's annoyed that this has come up, right? Now, that becomes even more interesting when put into the context of the fact that Calvary Chapel full stop has a long history of claims of intentionally putting pedophiles in positions of power, giving them access to children. And
shout out to Indian Summer 79. Rolling Stone did an article about Turning Point USA's affiliation with CSA in 2023. Charlie knew. I need to look that up. Thank you for saying that, Indian Summer 79. I need to look that up right now. Thank you so much.
I'm not talking about institutions get big, okay? Like right now, if you even looked within public schools, you could find tons of instances, especially of like these young female teachers that go after high school kids, right? I'm talking about how would you feel if you kept learning that it was the principal at a school, like it kept being the principal of a school. This is by no means an exhaustive list, just to be clear, but I'm going to just tell you like a few of these, right? Florida Calvary Chapel in Pompano Beach. The founder was a pastor named Rob Coy, not McCoy, to be clear, Rob Coy, who was a former Las Vegas casino entertainment director turned religious leader for one of the Florida's biggest mega churches. And then he got...
Thank you so much for saying it. I appreciate that. Every new video is louder, hits louder than the one before. Thank you.
got accused of molesting a 4-year-old girl.
All right. Sorry, she keeps saying the M word. Like, damn. Shit. Damn, Candace. Shit. All right, so I think that's enough for today. I got so much more. So if you are not subscribed to my channel, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the notification bell. Make sure to hype this video and make sure to hit the like button. And most importantly, make sure to share this video with other people at your job, in your group chats that are into this type of content. I am not just an advocate for Charlie Kirk. I am an advocate for these tadpoles, these young people that have been victimized by people involved with Turning Point USA. So it's just getting worse and worse and worse. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. So I'm about to go watch football. So I will do, most likely I'm going to do another show tomorrow, but I will talk to y'all later. And I'm going to play the hit the like button song before I go. So don't go yet. I'm about to play some of my hit songs. Believe it or not, I got some hits and y'all don't even know about it. Here it is. So first I'm gonna play the Candace song.
Evil scumbag. She doesn't fucking deal with the shit we have to deal with. People are going to get hurt. People are going.
I'm gonna play the remix part.
Candace, what? Everybody wanna hate Candace. Everybody wanna hate Candace. Everybody wanna hate Candace. If you got something to say, tell it to her face. If you got something to say.
Wait, what's going on? That's not even wrong. That's not the right one. Damn it. Where did that come from? I didn't even know I had that one. Hold on, y'all. Where is... All right, here we go.
Evil scumbag. She doesn't fucking deal with the shit.
There is bullshit in your eyes. If you got...
And 30 minutes just like... She's betrayed us. She's doing something else. I can't believe it. This has all just been a show. Calm down, okay? What do you think happened? Well, Erika said stop, and then I was frozen for 4 hours and 30 minutes, just like...
Everybody wanna hate Candace. Everybody wanna hate Candace. Everybody wanna hate Candace. Everybody wanna hate Candace. What? Everybody wanna hate Candace. Everybody wanna hate Candace. Everybody wanna hate Candace.
Daniela, can you send it to me via Instagram? My Instagram is right here. Just send it, just DM it to me, please, please, please. Daniela said she found the article from Rolling Stone. Can you please send it to me to IM_Miss_Lego? And everybody make sure to follow me on IM_Miss_Lego on YouTube.
If you got something to say, tell it to her face. If you got something to say, tell it to her face. All this is fake and gay, and you know it. I got all the evidence, I'm about to show it. You projecting all your guilt out on us and Candace. We just trying to solve the case, I don't understand it. Are things not turning out how you planned it? We can see it in your eyes and your body language. I see all the threats that you keep sending me, but underneath the jail is where you finna be. Your band of crooked pastors in the pulpit. Every time you speak, all I hear is bullshit. Tell the truth about Charlie Kirk instead of telling me to stop. All I wanna know is which guy took the shot. I need an answer to a question only you would know. Was Charlie Kirk's life a reenactment of the Truman Show? Truman Show, Truman Show. 100,000 of us on your head top. Please stop trying to feed us all this fed slop. Your grieving widow book tour, we ain't listening to it. And free Tyler Robinson, cause you know he didn't do it. Everybody wanna hate Candace. Everybody wanna hate Candace. Everybody wanna hate Candace. Everybody wanna hate Candace. What? Everybody wanna hate Candace. Everybody wanna hate Candace. Everybody wanna hate Candace. What?
It feels a little fake and gay. Gotta tell you guys, it feels a little fake and gay, and there will be no fakeness and no gayness. It was like one big character assassination, and it wasn't to me. That's what you guys don't understand. You're not attacking me. You are attacking millions of people around the world.
So somebody said, how can one woman make so many people angry?
Everybody hit the like button. 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 If you got something to say, drop it in the comments. Don't be acting afraid. What? Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. If you got something to say, drop it in the comments. Don't be acting afraid. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know you at. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know you at. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know you at. Drop your city. What? Drop your city in the chat. What? Drop your city. What? Drop your city in the chat. Drop your city in the chat.